and we know that God exists for the very same reasons. For thousands of years, 99% of human beings that we know of have believed in a supernatural. And of course, it's been all sorts of different supernatural beings, but it's because that is deep within us, and we know that, and we're drawn to it.
No, we're drawn to just explaining shit however we can. Just because at one point in time we thought that there was a scrawny-ass, hula-skirted guy in the sky that, you know, controlled the rain, does not mean that means that a God in some kind of respect does exist. We're trying to explain shit all the time. Doesn't matter if we got to make up that God or another God or some other thing in order to explain it. The only reason why we made up God was to explain things that we don't understand. And then when we do understand why something happens or how something happens, the need for God goes away. The rain cycle is a good example of this. We used to think that we had to dance in order for rain to come down. Then we understood the rain cycle and was like, well, shit, we've been naked dancing out here for no fucking reason other than it feels good.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need any other reason than that. It doesn't cause rain to happen. So we did away with that. And every single time we thought something was only caused by God, we later figured out that it wasn't caused by God. That's because God is something that is made up to explain things that we don't understand. So just because in the past we've been ignorant of most of the things that happen in reality, and so we use God to explain them, doesn't mean that we've always had this inclination that a God exists. We've always had the inclination that we don't know shit. And then you get some like pompous big dick guy walking around the fucking village, and he's like, yeah, I got your answers right here. Fucking God did it, motherfucker. Sacrifice a cat in order to please this guy. Remember, you got to rip out the entrails and burn them into a crisp because God loves the smell of freshly burnt flesh.
You know, we can't explain it. We can't understand it unless God reveals it to us, unless we have faith. But that doesn't mean that it's not true.
It doesn't mean that it's not true if the only way that we can know God exists is by already accepting that God exists and having faith that God exists. If that's not the biggest load of bullshit that I've ever heard.
There is no contradiction between faith and reason. They're like two wings of a bird that lift our spirit to the Almighty, to the eternal, to who we were made by and to who we were made for.
No, it's not like two bird wings that get surgically sewn onto our soul and lift us up to God. That just sounds ridiculous.
Even just through the natural order, we can come to see God. Even just through reason and logic and through the natural law, just like some of the greatest philosophers like Plato, Aristotle, Socrates, they came to believe in a good God just through the natural facilities that we have at our disposal.
But it wasn't your God. And I'm really kind of skeptical that like all of these ancient Greek thinkers came to believe in a monotheistic, single, omnibenevolent God. According to utm.edu, to Plato, God is transcendent, the highest and most perfect being, and one who uses eternal forms or archetypes to fashion a universe that is eternal and uncreated. The order and purpose he gives the universe is limited by the imperfections inherent in material. That does not sound like your God, like this all-good, omnibenevolent God. It actually says nothing about him being omnibenevolent to Plato. Also, why is it that Christians always have to harken back to the oldest motherfuckers in order to support their view? Those people didn't believe in your God. Those fucks were so before Christianity that there's no way that they could believe in your God. So why are you using them to prove your God exists? It really amazes me. Not to shit on Plato or anybody like that, but to say that you can use reason and logic in order to argue that God exists means that you don't understand how to be reasonable or logical.